Live.
Due to some violent content, parental discretion is advised.
Can't stand my fingernails not doing their... Get a little... Very particular about my fingernails. All right, here we go.
I think it's a strip show, dance show.
Work there, dude.
Welcome to DeaconLive. DeaconLive.
Welcome back, guys. On today's show, how to unlock the Ziplock hack, and a good guy with a gun goes to court, and why are people losing their buccal fat, and why is my meat twerking? All this and much, much more will be discussed here on DeaconLive. How are you? How are things? How are things going? Are you doing okay? Are you surviving? I always worry about you guys more than I worry about myself, and then I unload everything that I possibly have in my mind on you guys. So I know you got big shoulders. I've got big shoulders as well. And you can follow us on all your social media, all your social contact areas. As go over to Prophet Radio, PROPHET Radio. Click on social contacts while you're over there. Make sure you fill out that little form to get yourself some free swag. And also, we'd love to hear from you. And you can be part of the show. You can be right here in the studio alongside of me. And the way you do that is to go to prophetradio.com. At the bottom of the page, there's a little blue tab that says Be Heard. Click on that, opens up a microphone. It's going to ask for like an email address and some kind of identity. Believe me, I don't have enough time to sit there and spam you or anything like that. It's part of the process. You want to be part of the show, that's great. Opens up a microphone, speak right into it, comes right here to the station, and it comes into my inbox, and I play it on this podcast or the very next podcast as well. It doesn't matter. I know we've got over 300 and some odd shows here. You can be part of any single one of those, and you can be part of us as well. If that makes any sense to you guys, hopefully it does. Now, I know you guys were worried about me for a while. I had a bad episode with my back, and I had a scheduled doctor's appointment for, I had my MRIs done. I had my x-rays done a while back. And so now, drum roll, I've got the results as far as what's been going on with my back. And I told you about the appointment was made like online through this third party company that just scheduled you at random. Your appointment is at Monday at 5 p.m. And I'm like going, Jesus Christ, that late? Well, I didn't realize it was a physical therapy office. So they're probably open later than normal. And they have a doctor on staff. And I get Dr. Chaswick. I don't know if that's his real name. It's Chaz something funny. I'm going with Chaswick. So I go to the counter and I see all these decrepit people. It's so funny. No, because I'm one of those decrepit people. These older people, men, women, that look like they've been in a car accident. They've got their arm brace on, and they're going through physical therapy. Someone comes in on crutches. If you've ever seen a physical therapy office, the clientele that goes in and out of that is just like, you're like, what's their backstory? What's going on with them? What happened to them to make them go through this process? So I show up and I'm like I'm walking in there like I'm the belle of the ball. There's nothing wrong with me. I got both my legs. I got both my arms. Nothing's in a sling or anything like that. And the person behind the counter, the nurse or something, says, I'm sorry, can I help you? Who are you here to see? Do you have an appointment? I said, yes, I have a doctor or appointment with Dr. Chaswick. Oh, Dr. Chaswick. Eyebrows raised. Well, I'm going to have to ask you a bunch of questions, fill out this form and all this stuff. So I did all that. And I go in the back, and it's like a regular doctor's office. Like, it's got the paper bed. It's got the gurney, whatever it is, with the wax paper on it, and a couple chairs in there. My wife's in there with me. And she's looking at me like going, look, whatever he says, we'll go through the whole ordeal. Whatever you decide to do with your back, after he looks at the MRIs and looks at the the x-rays and all that. I will support you 100%, but I want you to get better. I said, okay, babe, that's why I brought you. I love you. Smooches, kissy, kissy, hug, hug. So the little nurse comes in. You know, she's fresh out of med school or, I don't know, one of those online classes. She comes in there. She's got long blonde hair on. She's got tattoos all over her arms, you know, love and peace. And, you know, Ivy on one hand that goes down to her thumb, and then burrs or whatever. And one of those medical people that, you know what I'm talking about. And she's got that little stool, and she's clicking on the little typewriter there, and she's typing in all the stuff on the screen. She's moving the screen around, and she's like, okay, are you allergic to this? Are you allergic, you know, going through the whole regime as far as what's going on with me. And when's the last time you had this? And when's the last time you had that? And I said, you know, well, it might be this. It could have been a couple weeks of that. And my wife's basically not interfering. She's just there to observe. And I would look to her for like answers to the questions. I'm like going, well, babe, when's the last time that happened? Was it 5 years ago? She's like, no, it was like 12 years ago. I go, all right, well, my math's a little off. My timeline's a little off. Okay, well, I have all your MRIs up here on the screen. And she's typing away. And I've got, oh, you've got x-rays? Well, they're old x-rays. Well, we'll go ahead and put those up as well. And I'll bring the doctor in. I'll be right back. So she leaves. Doctor comes in. Young guy. Sporty guy. Little bit of an attitude. You know, it's 5 o'clock on a Monday, and I'm probably the last person he wants to see. And he comes in. He's like, hey, you know, I'm Dr. Chaswick. Shakes my wife's hand. That's my wife over there. And he's like, yeah. How you doing? Sits down on his little stool, and he's like, oh, so tell me what's going on. He's making like small chit chat. So tell me where it hurts. And he's trying to figure out how to, you know, he's sitting on the computer and listening to me at the same time. Well, come to find out, all the menus and everything closed on him. So he's like going, well, I can't pull up your MRIs. I'll be right back. Goes and gets the tattooed hippie nurse. She comes back in, opens everything back up, and then calls him back in. Then he goes, all right, well, everything's ready, up and running. So I'm going to run a couple tests on you. He's looking at the MRIs and all that stuff. And they're small. You know, his monitor was as big as my monitor here in the studio. And the pictures were probably like 3x3 squares on his screen. So he really can't see anything. He's kind of like, okay, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pictures here, MRIs here. All right. And he spins around in his little stool, and I'm sitting up on the wax paper table, and he starts hitting me with the mallet, you know, the metal mallet. Reflex, pinches here, pinches there. He actually grabbed my ankle and pinched me one time. He goes, can you feel that? I go, well, you're grabbing my hair, doc. He goes, but you feel it? I go, yeah. He goes, that's all I need to know. And he grabs this side, and he actually hits my ankles a couple times with that mallet, and he kind of does this, and he's like, all right, stand up. You know, move this way, almost like a physical, but it was like bing, bang, boom, bang, boom. And then he goes, all right, I see you're not allergic to anything. Do you have this? Do you have that? And he's like going over his menu. And then he goes, all right, well, are you ready? He didn't say that, but I'm thinking in my mind, kind of spun around and never really made eye contact with me. The bedside manners of a regular doctor, like your primary doctor, is totally different than a specialty doctor. The specialty doctor wants to know exactly what's wrong with you right then and there. He doesn't care about your family. He doesn't care about, you know, how many kids you have, doesn't want to care about what you do for a living. He doesn't care about what you have for dinner that evening, the night before, where's the best place to, you know, watch a movie. He doesn't care about that. Specialty doctors just go, they want to turn and burn. And I hate using that sentence because I've used it before in the last couple of weeks, but that's what he wants to do. I'm looking at him and I'm judging him now. And I'm looking at him like going, all right, he's got not Skechers, like New Balance tennis shoes on. I'm sure they're great for his feet. He's got some kind of scrubs on. He's got like a jacket, a pullover jacket, zip up, no hoodie. And he's, you know, spinning around like he's on, I don't want to say he's on like cocaine. He's a little high test, a little high advanced. Like he's got a date and he wants to get me out of this room and go on about his day. Maybe, maybe he's got a dinner date or something like that. So once he got all that done, he gave me the total breakdown as far as my options, as far as what to do with my back. And you guys, I know you've heard me talk about many times. You can rewind back to 2018 about where this all started. But still, he goes, all right, so here's what we're going to do. And we'll take a short little break. And when I come back, I'm going to tell you exactly what my options were. Some are good, some are bad, and some are kind of like, well, Jesus Christ, what do I do now? You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. You want something for free? Well, we'll give you something for free. But you got to do something for me. You have to go over to Prophet Radio, Prophet Radio. Click on the free swag section and fill out that little form there and pick out what kind of free swag you'd like. There's a little couple packets up there. Pick that out, and we'll send it right to you right away. And like I said, I'm not going to do anything with your email address. I just want to say thank you for listening to us and being a part of the show. And don't forget, you can be a part of the show as well. We are on YouTube as well for every podcast we do. We have a matching video. Hi. And you can see all the articles in real time as we're talking about them here on the show. Go to prophetradio.com and follow us on all our social medias. Now, the doctor comes back in. Let's see if I can do this right. So the doctor gave me a breakdown of everything that was going on with my spine. He pulls up my MRIs, which is really, really weird and really, really unique to look at. I was watching they're almost like GIFs. What are they? GIFs where it's like a 3-second video that shows, something on the internet. But the videos he was showing on his computer was the same way. He was literally looking at, if you ever seen like an MRI scan, and in real time, he moves the little cursor across and it shows, cross pattern. And he's like, all right, look right here. See this right here? This right here, you told me you fell off a ladder about 5 years ago. These bones right here was impacted on my spine, but it doesn't look like it affected anything, but it's way up on your back. So that's one thing. Then he goes down here and he's like going, all right, so everything looks good here. See how the vertebrae are nice and square. And then you get down to this one here, L7. I don't know. I'm watching the video. And he's like, this one right here, there's not a whole lot of room. You see how it's all kind of dark right here? It needs to be white. This is really dark. That means there's not a whole lot of space or gap in there for the muscle and the tendons and the nerves to go through. And then you go down to S5. I don't know. I'm making these numbers up, but you know what I'm saying. 3 more vertebrae down. And then this section right here is the same way. And then he gets like a cross section. Like if you were, if I was laying on a bed and you were literally like looking up my asshole, but it was an MRI, so it doesn't look like my asshole. It just looks like, 2 round tenderloins on the side, and you can see my spine down the middle. And he goes, look, see this right here, all this, how it's connected. This white thing right here is connected to the hip bone, and this other side over here, the side you're having problems with is it's dark. There's no connection. He's like, so. And he kind of pushes himself back and kind of clears out a screen. And he kind of pushes himself back on the stool, and he looks at me, spins around on his little stool, a little arrogant, claps his hand, rubs his fingers. I'm like, all right, here we go. Here's the news. He says, you're X years old. And I said, yeah, I know. I just had a birthday. He didn't say anything like happy birthday or anything like that. You would think someone would say that, just as being cordial. Well, you expect it at this person's age that you would have some kind of deterioration in your spine. It's acceptable. We get older, things break down. Things don't move like you were when you were 18. That's acceptable. You are not acceptable. I'm like, oh God, here we go. I'm going to die. They're going to fuse me with hot glue and baling wire in my spine. He goes, your back, the spine, your lower L5s and 7s and 9s and stuff is it's pretty bad. You can see a flare up here, and he was talking about flare ups and all this stuff. And he goes, your body has absorbed this flare up here. Look, it's an old flare up. I said, so my body's healing itself? Like I'm like Wolverine? And he kind of looked at me and goes, no. And I'm like, oh, man. He goes, but this is what's going on. He goes, there's no real nerve. Nothing's really pushing on nerves. What's happening is if I stress my back out too much, then everything kind of flares up, and that's when it starts pushing on stuff. And that's what makes me kind of lock up and have issues as far as like pain or anything. I'm not on a daily dose of pain, like walking around or anything. It's just when, you're stressing out. He goes, so I don't think, surgery is in there. It's an option, but I don't think the surgery, this is the funny part, even if you find the most radical back surgeon, it's not going to fix your issue. And I go, all right, sweet. All right, there's one in my book, right? There's one on my side. He goes, the second thing is we can do like injections. They don't say shots, because shots, the word shot is like a punch in the face. You want a shot, punch. He goes, injections. It's a softer word. We can do what they call nerve blockers. And I go, okay, can you explain that? What is that scenario? And he goes, well, nerve blockers, it's technically like an epidural. It's numbing. And I go, well, what is the actual stuff that you're putting into my back? Oh, it's a big needle, and we stick it in your spine, and we do it underneath an x-ray so I can get down into the actual joint, and it's, what do you call it? Cortisone shot, and it blocks out the nerves, and it relieves the pain. I said, so is it a shot and I'm good for 30 days, or is it a shot and I'm good for like an hour? He goes, well, when you have a flare-up, which means my back fucking hurts and I can't move, we'll do the shot. He goes, but you're not there yet. I said, okay, sweet. 2 points in my corner. He goes, well, have you ever been on muscle relaxers? I go, well, I don't really, no, I don't do any drugs. I don't do anything other than what's prescribed to me over the counter. And I have to make sure that, I have a very, very addictive personality. No, I've never been a drug addict. I've never been anything like that. I do indulge in beers and stuff. Sometimes in my life, I've overindulged in beers, but that's, the way the United States works. As I take a sip right now. But for the most part, he said, well, we can prescribe you painkillers. I said, all right. And is it a painkiller like I'm taking them every day? He's like, no, you only take them as you need them. All right, cool. That's 3 in my corner. Only take them as I need them. And I said, all right, so what are the other options? He goes, well, you're taking meloxicam, which is basically Advil on steroids. It doesn't do anything, physically for you as far as like, make you relax or anything. It just keeps more of the swelling down, or the anti-inflammatory down. He goes, but if you have an episode, we can give you Pronoxanil or something like that. And we'll give you that, and then you can get through your episode. And I'm like, all right, hold on one sec. There's a lot of verbiage going on. Are you telling me? I said, well, hold on. What do you consider an episode? He goes, well, if you have a flare-up and you're in bed and you're incapacitated for like 2 days. And I look at my wife, I go, I've never had that happen. She's like, no. She's like, you've been down like 8 hours, 12 hours. You go to bed, you wake up in the morning, you're pretty much good for the rest of the day. I'm like, oh, yeah. I said, so you're telling me I would physically have to be locked up, laying in bed, I can't move, and you're going to prescribe me Pronoxanil or whatever it's called. Yeah, I'll just give you like a 5-day dose for you to get the flare-up down. I said, okay. And then from there, if that doesn't work, I get like this steroid shot. Oh, it's a nerve blocker. We don't like to say shot. We like to say nerve blocker. I'm like, all right. And I said, so how do I get that? Oh, you would have to come down here to the office here. We'll put you on a table, do an x-ray, and then we'll inject the needle into your back right then and there. I'm like, all right. And then from there, well, if it gets worse, then there's nothing really we can do. This is something you're going to have to live with for the rest of your life. I said, okay. So I'm at the point that I'm like going, my back's not that bad. Believe me, doc. To use this terminology, I'm not that bad. I have done some stuff in the yard, you know, if I'm out there mowing or cutting limbs and stuff, and sometimes I want to hurry up and get things done. You know, I kind of overexert myself, and then by the evening, my back wants to lock up and I can't move. Next morning, lay in bed, take a meloxicam, I'm good to go. I say good to go. I'm not running another marathon the next morning, but I'm taking the day easy. I've never been locked up in bed. I've never had the scenario of me just incapacitated and can't move. I feel for you people out there that have back pain and this is what you've had to go through or have gone through. I feel for you because I'm almost there. As long as I maintain this, I'm good to go. But what depressed me the most was that there is no cure. Like, even with surgery, you know, I hear about people getting surgery done on their back and getting their vertebrae all straightened up and getting everything moved around, and they're out of commission for like 8 weeks, and the rehabilitation is all that. I'm not at that point. Tell my wife that because there's times where she has to pick me up off the floor where I've gotten down on the floor, you know, to pet the dog or something. I'm like, oh, I can't get up. I have to roll over on my back or roll over on my knees, roll over and get back up. So I'm stuck. This is me for the rest of my life. It's going to be medication. Of course, you know, the weight is there, so I have to take the weight off a little bit. But even still, that'll just relieve a little bit less stress on my back to hold up my fat ass when I'm walking around on the property. So it's kind of depressing when they say that. And it's not a woe is me. I hate to say that. I'm not looking for sympathy, but there's a lot of people out there in the world, and you guys listen to me as well, that have gone through the same thing or going through the same thing where there's like no cure. I know I've seen people that are dealing with like MS on Facebook and stuff, and they're like, here's my infusion for the week, my infusion for the month. There's a lot of people on our Facebook page that is going through a lot of different stuff or a lot of different things, aches, ailments, all that stuff. So I'm just letting you know, this is where I'm at. So I know you were worried about me. A lot of people out there email me and you know, hearts and prayers and the, what is this thing? So you're watching the video here. What is this? The hearts and prayers. I don't know how to do it with my fingers and the hands. Make a big heart on your heart. Sit down. I don't know how to do it. So there you go. All right, guys, I appreciate that. All your emails and everything. And so I'll be good. It'll take some getting used to. I got to slow down a little bit. And tomorrow I'm running a 5K marathon. Kidding, joking, not doing anything tomorrow. All right, guys, stick around. We got a lot more to get into. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. Make sure you follow us on all your social networks. And the way you do that is go over to Prophet Radio, PROPHET Radio. Click on social contacts. Be part of our team, our unit, all our fans out there, and all our listening audience. We appreciate you guys being a part of that as well. And make sure you like and subscribe to us on YouTube. And if you like something for free, get yourself something over there for free. Fill out that little form there on Prophet Radio and get yourself some free swag. We got some magnets, some stickers, and a whole bunch of stuff there for you, just to say thank you for listening to us. Now, I told you all about my back and what was going on, and the doctor, he was okay. I could tell that he was he was at the end of his day. That's what he was doing. He was at the end of his day. He wanted to get out of there, and I was telling him stuff, and he was like, So this, you know, that kind of thing. He wanted to get out of there. I could appreciate that. And I told my wife, and she's like, look, These are just a simple test that he has to do. He's already got everything booked and planned in his head. I'm glad he just didn't say surgery. You know, we're going to fillet you like a fish down your back. We're going to put rods, 3-foot rods in your back, and you're never going to be able to stand up straight or walk again. But that wasn't the thing. Now, one thing that a lot of people out there, us men mostly, maybe 15% women, is worried about is hair loss. Now, studies have shown that drinking sugary drinks has led to hair loss. Male pattern baldness, or MPHL, is a non-scarring, progressive form of hair loss. The age is onset male pattern hair loss has been decreasing while the incidence has been increasing as well. Several studies have established that the link between Western-style dietary intake has affected male pattern hair loss. They've done a study that shows that sugar-sweetened beverages consumption and male pattern baldness has occurred in young men in China. Various aspects of male pattern baldness has affected a person's life, such as confidence, psychology, and all that stuff. It's kind of demeaning. Young populations consume higher qualities of SSB, which is, tell you here in a second, sugar sweetened beverage. So SSB is sweetened sugar beverages. Young populations consume higher qualities of sugar sweetened beverages such as juice, soft drinks, energy drinks, sports drinks, tea and coffee. For example, 49% of adults and 63% of youth in the USA has consumed these SSBs on any given day. This is similar to people in China drinking the same amount of beverages, are highest between the ages of 13 and 29. So across the studies, a cross-sectional studies were conducted in January to April of 2022 in mainland China. A total of 2,000 men ages between the ages of 18 and 45 were recruited from 31 provinces. A self-report online survey was used for data collection. Okay, so they could have lied at any time. The key findings were saying that the scientists observed significant associations between the sugary sweet beverages consumption and male pattern baldness. This finding could be rationalized by many potential direct and indirect mechanisms. Biochemical symptoms such as alopecia, scalp hint towards an overlay of poly pathway, high sugar content in SSBs triggers a higher serum. All right, so there's a whole lot of things that affect everything as far as why your hair falls out. High sugar intakes is often coupled with high lipid intake. This phenomenon has been demonstrated in animal studies on mice. However, the association between high sugary drinks and male pattern baldness remains significant even after adjusting the intake of frequency of oils, fats, deep fried food, so on and so forth. The suggestion that sugary drinks be independent factor and linked with male pattern baldness. According to the study, chronic diseases, emotional factors, and immediate association between sugar drinks and male pattern baldness. So what they're saying is, if you have, they always said something that don't wear a hat. And as I'm sitting in the studio wearing a hat, that you would lose your hair. Don't wear a hat, don't wear a hat. They're also attributing to, sugar drinks. Now, let's break that down. It might be a fact that, your body, males, produce testosterone. And if the sugary drinks and all the other crap that you're eating and drinking and stuff like that reduces your testosterone, then yes, by all means, you would lose hair. There's a reason why, the transvestite or transgender community take steroids, or not steroids, take testosterone to improve the amount of testosterone that are in their body to produce hair in places that's not supposed to be there, and vice versa. There's estrogen for women that need to have women's stuff done. I know I'm getting a slippery slope here, but essentially all this stuff that we're eating and drinking, the sugary high stuff and all that stuff, is counterbalancing the way our normal bodies produce hair follicles and produce, long flowing hair and whatnot. Now, have you lost your buccal fat? I've always said this to myself personally. I wish I could do something with, and if you're watching this here on the video, and don't forget, for every podcast we have a matching video. Go over to youtube.com and search DeaconLive podcast. You can see me here in the studio. Hi. And I'm going to show you my buccal fat. Get ready, ladies. I'll show you my buccal fat right now. Let me switch cameras here so you can see me. So if you're not familiar with buccal fat, this is the new fad that's going on. Now, I have seen guys out there on the basketball court. Don't forget, I used to play. I was on the practice team for the Orlando Magic. So I've got my years. That's probably where my back hurts. Carrying Terry Catledge up and down the court for season after season. Buccal fat is this right here. Now, I've seen some really, really big guys, and their head is small and skinny. You know what I'm talking about. It happens a lot in the Spanish community. A friend of mine says, how can you be fat and skinny at the same time? Because you have this little skinny head and a big fat body. But there's a reverse to that. So you can lose all the weight in the world, and you still have, I'm poking my face here, if you can see me, and you can have this fat right here in your cheeks that you cannot lose. Now, a lot of women out there will get, I'm doing my face here. You can do like face tucks and face lifts and all that stuff. But this right here, see this little chunk of meat right here? This will feed a family of 4, this little chunk. And on this side, I could lose all the fat in the world. I worry about this little chunk in my cheeks sticks out past my ears if you look at me head on. And that just makes your body look like, if you do headshots or something like that, it just makes your body look weird. Well, now that this whole, now I want to get this done. Screw my back surgery. I want to get my buckles taken off. Look how skinny I look. I pull this back. Look at, I'm like 20 years old now. Look at me. So this little thing right here is called buckle. And when I say buckle, it's not the traditional spelling. It's B-U-C-C. Before I step out of my boundaries, B-U-C-C-A-L. I got rid of my buccal fat years ago and never looked back. I just couldn't take it anymore, says this article. The comments that started was, when I was a baby, look at those cheeks. You always see kids with their cheeks and stuff. I don't remember exactly where I learned about buccal fat removal, but it was certainly before Christy Teigen. All right, so I don't need to know all that stuff. So let's see. So according to this article, this writer said in 2019, I underwent the procedure, which was relatively unknown outside of the plastic surgery field. And I was 35, and I couldn't stomach the thought of someone pinching my cheeks anymore when I was 40. I was sold on it to get my buccal fat removed. In my consultation, they walked me through what exactly would happen. Local anesthesia would be applied to my cheeks, meaning I would be awake through the whole entire process, and then he would make a tiny incision on the inside of both my cheeks, tease out the fat pads through a slit in the cheeks, and cut them off and dissolve the sutures. All in all, it would take about 45 minutes. 45 minutes to look 20 years younger from the neck up? Yeah, I'll do that. The procedure itself happened exactly as he described. I can still feel the sensation of Dr. Mills digging inside my cheeks. I remember looking down at the table and seeing these two orange globs resembling raw chicken thighs staring back at me. My large buccal fats. It was my large buccal fat pads saying they are final goodbye. I remember thinking good riddance. So here's a picture. Let me switch to camera 4 so you can see it. So the picture on the left is the before picture of before he had his buccal fat done. See, he had little puffy cheeks, and then on the side, he had and he looks like one of the village people now, but still, he had his buccal fat done. Now, does that make you look like you're emaciated? It makes you look like there's something wrong. Are you sick? Are you feeling okay, Brian? Brian, are you okay? Because your body's still fat as fuck, but your face is kind of sunken in. It looks like you're on drugs. If you want those kind of results, do meth. Do meth, people. But still, buccal fat, B-U-C-C-A-L, is a new trend going out there. So if you see that going around, that's what's happening. I wish I could get rid of this little cheek muscle right here. All right, guys, stick around. A little bit more to get into, and we'll let you get back to doing what you got to do. My name is the Deacon. Oh, you're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Not yet. Not yet. We're good? Burned a lot of stuff on that. All right, here we go. Welcome back to Deacon Live. Make sure you follow us on our social networks. And the way you do that is go over to Prophet Radio. And make sure you like and subscribe over there as well. Now, the other day we had the Golden Globes, and I guess Eddie Murphy ran his mouth off a little bit, trying to tell some jokes and be a little bit more relevant. He said something about Will Smith and keep his wife's name out of your mouth, Jada Pinkett Smith. Sorry, I said it as well. But there's also another movie that's out there that needs a new hero. 007 for a long time has seen its share of different actors taken over as far as the lead role as the main character. We've seen Pierce Brosnan. We've seen Roger Moore, of course. We've seen Sean Connery. And there's been a couple other actors that have taken over as lead role in the 007 series. Now, Daniel Craig is stepping down right now. It's just getting too much for him. He just can't handle the physical stunt work that needs to be done. He's getting old. So he's saying, you know what, I'm out of here, find someone else. Former James Bond actor George Lazenby has publicly stated that he has his vote for the next James Bond, and everyone's taking him very seriously. Liam Hemsworth, a fellow Aussie, is going to be taking over for James Bond. Now, I don't know if he's got a lot of work to be done. He doesn't look that menacing. He doesn't look very, well, Roger Moore wasn't very menacing as well. But they're saying that Liam Hemsworth, might as well throw his brother in there, throw him a scrap or two. His brother's out there, running around like Thor. Maybe that'll draw a little bit more to the James Bond series to have his brother in there. We'll see what happens. So it's Bond. Liam Bond is what they're going for there. So the next James Bond has been named. It's probably going to be Liam Bond or Liam Hemsworth. It works the same way. So if you see that out there, I don't know what the new couple series, how many books did he write? as far as the James Bond series. Haven't we done them all already? They're not writing new books anymore. So we'll see what happens. Now, over in Houston, Texas, you always hear about Texas. Everything is bigger in Texas. And, you know, guns are willy-nilly out there. When you buy a quart of whiskey or a pint of whiskey, they give you a free gun. And they always look for, you know, the gun enthusiasts in the United States say, where's the good guy with the gun? You know, when a robbery happens, this wouldn't have happened if someone in the restaurant or someone in the facility had a gun to protect themselves. Well, guess what? When you wish, you get what you wish for. This gentleman right here was protecting himself in the restaurant in Houston, Texas. Houston Police Department has been looking for the man who shot another man during a robbery last week. On Monday, they questioned the 46-year-old man and released him without charges. Now, the grand jury is looking at him to file more charges on him based on what happened in this restaurant. So, for more on this story, if you want to see this full story, I'm going to go to camera 4, and you can see this in real time on our podcast, on our video podcast in real time as we're talking about it here. So here we go. This is from, where's this from? KENS 5 over in Houston, Texas. So here we go.
Early evening to you. I'm Mia Grady.
And I'm Len Cannon. He's been hailed a hero by some for gunning down a robber in a Houston restaurant last week. That shooting captured on surveillance video.
Now Houston police have finally gotten his side of the story. They say they have spoken to the unidentified man and have referred the case to a grand jury.
Janelle Blue to Live Downtown with the latest on this case. Janelle?
Yeah, guys, so police say a grand jury will now decide if this was self-defense or if charges will be brought. Today, we spoke to attorneys from both sides of the courtroom. Surveillance video captured everything. A masked man walks into this taqueria in Southwest Houston holding a gun, demanding money. As he grabs the cash, the man sitting in this booth reaches to pull out a gun. As the suspect walks away, he shoots at him 9 times, killing him. The customer then takes back the money that was stolen and grabs the suspect's gun, throwing it against the wall, realizing it was fake, and then he leaves.
My takeaway is that the gentleman who discharged the weapon was acting lawfully and that it was his right to defend himself and the other patrons in that restaurant.
Criminal defense lawyer Nicole DeBoard Hotchglobe says if the shooting is justified under Texas law, it doesn't matter how many bullets were fired.
Once you are entitled to use deadly force under the law, you're entitled to use the deadly force until the threat is over.
On the other side of the courtroom, former prosecutor for the Harris County District Attorney's Office, Joanne Musick, says she too sees this shooting as a matter of self-defense.
That this is a man defending himself and others in the restaurant. People are getting sick and tired of crime on the streets.
And as for the case being presented to a grand jury, she says that's not surprising.
That means that it's too close to call, that it is a self-defense claim, it is a defense of third parties, and the DA is not going to just take it over a phone call or just a simple review of the evidence and file the charge. They're going to take it before a grand jury. That's 12 citizens that sit and look at the evidence. They look at both sides. They analyze whether or not that self-defense was justified.
But still, police want you to know sometimes taking matters into your own hands can have unintended consequences.
If you're lawfully carrying a weapon and you're an establishment and you decide that you're going to take matters out on your own hands, then you have to also take that into account, that if you also hit an innocent person, that you're accountable for each bullet that comes out of that gun, just as we are.
All right, so you've heard all that. You've heard all the speculations and what they're going to do. And, you know, everyone was like, going, I want to see what happened. I want to see what happened in the video. And I will show you what happened actually in the video. So stay with me. Go to my YouTube channel at DeaconProphetRadio.com. And I have the full-length video of what actually happened here in the restaurant. So the video picks up where the guy actually walked into the restaurant and he dropped a couple dollars and stuff on the floor, and he's waving his gun around. So here we go. If you want to see this now, children, adults, let's be smart about what's going on, and we're watching this video. So this is unedited. So here we go. You ready? So he walks in there, and he's, waving his gun around. And you can see the gentleman right here. He's pulling out his gun, getting it ready. So he walks back by the gentleman who's got his gun out, and this is what happens. Now he's down. One more. So he's down at this point. One more. Yep. The guy realizes that it's a fake gun and throws it against the wall. Oh, yeah, he's down. There's no getting up from that. So that's the actual video that happened. And this is the actual kid that was murdered. Not murdered. Sorry, didn't mean to use that term. This is the kid's mother who actually, that was shot in this restaurant.
It breaks you. In 2015, records show Eric was convicted of aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon and sentenced to 15 years in prison in connection to the shooting death of the business owner, 62-year-old Hamid Warridge.
He was there. He did not kill their father, but he was there and their father got killed. And that I am sorry for. I never got to say that to them, but I'm sorry for that.
Eric served 7 years, then was released on parole. In December, he was charged with assaulting his common-law wife and later bonded out.
He's not the monster people picture him to be.
As the case now turns over to a Harris County grand jury, Corinne has one message for the patron who killed Eric.
I don't hate him. I can't hate him, but I want to know why didn't you stop? If you had to kill him, I can deal with that. I can come to grips with that. He did something wrong. I understand that. But for him to be shot 4 times in the back leaving, and when he falls down and he shoots him 4 more times, he abused him. He was dead already. And that hurt. That hurts.
So there you go. That's exactly what happened at that restaurant shooting. So whatever you hear on your news reports and everything and what's going on, I'm sorry. I don't want to say that, the guy had every right to shoot the guy. I think he had every right to defend himself. I think he had every right to defend everyone in that restaurant and to take care of what was going on in that situation. The guy was walking around, if you watch the video, walking around and pointing his gun at everyone. The kid that came in had no idea what he was going to do. If you've got a mission, and listen to me, like I've robbed restaurants before, you have a mission, you have a target, you're walking right to the front and your gun's pointing in that direction. This guy was like waving it around. He's like going, I've got a gun. Look at me. I demand respect. And then he walked by the wrong person. And the guy who says, you want respect? Here's your respect right here, and took him down. So that's what happened. Was it excessive? According to Texas law, as we heard, you put your threat down, the level threat down until everyone feels safe. So if there's excessive firing going on in Texas, it's not me. It's not North Carolina. It's not Florida. This is Texas. You want to wave a gun around, we will put you down until that threat seemed to be diminished. So there you go. He lives in that state. I don't. That's what happened. All right, guys, stick around. We got a little bit more to get into, and we'll let you get back to doing what you got to do. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. We'd love to hear from you, and the way you do that is go over to Prophet Radio, PROPHET Radio. Click on the very bottom right-hand side of the page. There's a little blue bar at the very bottom. It says Be Heard. opens up a microphone on whatever device that you're listening to us at, and you speak right into the microphone, and it comes right to our email address or right into our inbox, and we'll play it on the very next podcast as well. You can be part of the show and be podcast famous. Now, I am for the most part, I am a Pepsi drinker. If I see Coca-Cola in the store or a Coke in the store or I see Pepsi in the store, I always go for Pepsi. It's not the other products like Dr. Pepper, Sprite. I don't care about any of those, but I mostly lean towards Pepsi. I'm from Florida, Orlando, Florida, born and raised. And so Pepsi has just been a staple in our family, whether it be Diet Pepsi, regular Pepsi, and all the other accoutrements that go with it. Now, Coca-Cola, this time of year, has produced a line of Coca-Cola. You've seen the red labels and everything like that. You know, we're out of Christmas and everything. And you see the polar bears, you know, drinking Coke and everything like that. But this year, or this time of year, you're starting to see a little bit different variation of the actual Coca-Cola product, which is there's a yellow cap on top. And you go, well, maybe they ran out of white caps or anything like that. No, the actual yellow caps signifies something. Now, here in North Carolina, we don't have a large Jewish community, but in the northern states, as far as like California, New York, where there is a large Jewish population, you're going to start seeing a lot of yellow caps. And what does that mean? Well, if you're unfamiliar with Passover, it's a Jewish religion. It's a Jewish religious holiday that occurs during spring and lasts all the way for 7 days in total. During this holiday, Jewish people are prohibited of owning or consuming leavened food, which includes 5 main ingredients: wheat, spelt, oats, rye, and barley. However, it's common for some Jewish people to recognize other categories of forbidden foods. That includes corn, rice, and beans. How does this affect Coke? Well, while the Coke regular formula is kosher year-round, it contains corn syrup. So it isn't considered kosher for Passovers by Jews in the Eastern European descent. Because of this, Coke replaces the corn syrup in this recipe with sugar. This kosher Coke is marked with sunny yellow caps. While intended for Jewish people who celebrate Passover, this original quote-unquote taste are the favorites for many Coke-loving fans. Plenty of people buy the yellow cap Cokes because they love the flavor or they want to avoid the high fructose corn syrup. The best part is these Cokes are no different in price than the regular recipe. So why don't they just do it all the time? If everyone loves to have that, let them do it. You know what? You know why? Because it costs a whole lot more. A small amount is fine. They'll lose a little bit of money to the Jewish community because the Jewish community, for the most part, will help them on the back end. Hear what I'm saying? I'm not saying anything, but hear what I'm saying. That's what they're going to do. So there you go. If you see those yellow caps on Coke, that means they are kosher and they're made for the Jewish community. They should make you show some kind of ID card or make you wear a special hat or something like that. Now, Ziploc bags. I am a big fan of saving money in the house. Now, my mom passed away back in February. I know we're coming up on a 1-year anniversary of that. That's probably going to be difficult here in the house. But my dad has moved in since then. And to get him out of the normal habits that happened when he was living with my mom for, 53 years, or being married for 53 years, and our household standards that we have here on the property, it's a slow process. My dad would take a roll of paper towels, put it on the spindle. If he has to wipe up something or do something simple, he'll pull that thing off like a woman with diarrhea grabbing the toilet paper. He'll go zing and then rip it off and then wipe something down and then put that whole entire thing in the garbage. I'm like going, God, that's such a waste of toilet paper or paper towels. It's such a waste of paper towels. And there's a lot of other things I'm trying to, save money on and do things like that. I didn't find out about this hack until this past week, and I would love to save it, but we don't use a whole lot of Ziploc bags. But I know there's families out there that rely and live and breathe on Ziploc bags, especially when you have kids and you're trying to make snacks and everything for them. There's a Ziploc hack that's out there on TikTok where you can actually take a Ziploc bag. All right, I'm talking name brand Ziploc. I don't know. I haven't tried it on the great value ones. And you put it on a table. All right, you listen to me? Are you watching me here? You put it on the table. So you got a 1 gallon Ziploc bag, quote unquote Ziploc bag. You take a knife and you start at the top, blade down, and you cut that bag in half. Now, when you cut that bag in half, what are you thinking? You pull it apart, you're going to have 2 open sides now, the top and where you cut it. No. That Ziploc bag seals itself on that one side. I know. How does it seal itself? You're cutting it. What's the difference if you take a pair of scissors and cut it or you take a knife and cut it? Well, I got a lot more to get into. It sounds very interesting, so let's get into it. Here is a video of a guy on TikTok trying to outdo himself. So here we go. If you want to see this video, the way you do that is go over to prophetradio.com, click on social contacts, and you can see our YouTube channel over there. Make sure you like and subscribe over there. I'm going to go to camera 4 so we can see this and all be friends. Here we go. You ready? Here's a video.
In your life. I'll go first.
All right, so here's the video. And it starts out with a woman taking a knife and cutting a Ziploc bag.
In your life. I'll go first.
You're telling me for 40 years, anytime I wanted to take 2 snacks somewhere, I could have just cut one baggie in half? No way.
He goes, cuts it in half. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on.
No way.
So he's got American Dad theme rolling in the background. So here he goes. Goes to the kitchen. He's got a 1 gallon bag. Takes a knife, slits it right down the middle, just like normal. Opens up one side. Sealed. Opens up the other one. Sealed.
In your life. I'll go first.
Have you done that before? I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know they would seal like that. I'm so amazed. I don't know what to do. I'm running around crazy. I'm at a loss. I don't know where to go. Where do I go from here? It's amazing. TikTok is amazing. All right, guys, stick around. When we come back, we got one more segment to get into, and we'll let you get back to doing what you got to do. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. You want something for free? We'll give you something for free. The way you got to do that or way you got to get it. Oh, that's going to be horrible. Delete. Yes, I do. Welcome back to Deacon Live. You want something for free? We'll give it to you. The way you got to get it is go over to Prophet Radio, Prophet Radio. click on the free swag section, fill out that little form. We'll send it out to you. And if you'd like to be heard and be part of the show as well, make sure you click on that button at the very bottom right-hand side of the page, says be heard. And leave a message, comes right to our inbox, and we'll play it on the very next podcast as well. Now, I know Christmas time is come and gone. For some of us, saying thank God. For some of us, we wish it would last all year long. But for those of you that had like your natural Christmas trees, some people have fake Christmas trees, some people have artificial ones. This past Friday, January 6th, which is my birthday, was National Take Your Christmas Tree Down, which is fine. Believe it or not, my Christmas tree is still up. I've got 2 out there. We are so busy during the week. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We have a new flock of chickens coming in. Horses are moving around. So unfortunately, we haven't been able to take down all the inside decorations and put them away. But the outside decorations, thank you very much to myself. I put them down or took them down myself. Now, some people take their natural Christmas tree and they usually have some kind of fire or something like that. But there's a group of people out there that says that they're feeding their Christmas trees to their kids. Christmas trees are edible. However, consuming one in your home is probably not the best bet for a number of reasons. You don't know how many cases where your trees came from. You don't know how many cases where your tree came from how many pesticides or chemicals that could potentially harm you if ingested. But yes, for the most part, Christmas trees are edible. Some trees that we know are harmful, like cypress trees or cedar trees, if those are types of trees that you use, you don't want to eat those. I've never heard of people eating the Christmas tree at the end of the year. Do you make like a soup or anything like that? The needles are very sharp, so you think about pulling something out of your mouth and then trying to swallow it. It can get stuck in your esophagus or your stomach. This article right here is an article for dummies. Because if you're sitting out there eating a Christmas tree, now I understand if, they say the New Year's, you want to make, black beans and collard greens and cornbread because it represents a whole lot of good luck in the season or the year to come. I've never heard about anyone eating their actual Christmas tree. So doctors, let's see, what's this doctor's name? He's just trying to put his name in the books here. Dr. Carla Robinson is the one that says don't eat Christmas trees. So if you got a problem and you're eating Christmas trees, go to Dr. Carla Robinson. Obviously, she's seeing an influx of people eating Christmas trees. Now, there's going to be another video that's going to be circulating here on your TikTok, on your newsfeed, and all that stuff. And it's a picture of this tenderloin that's been cut off a fresh animal, and it's, for the lack of a better term, it's twerking. So if you want to see this video, go over to properradio.com, click on social contacts, and you can follow us on YouTube. And so here we go. I know there's music on here. I'm going to get flagged for it, so I'm going to turn this off. So here's a nice cut of tenderloin. This woman is, or a very effeminate male with her hands holding it up. So here we go. You can see it almost looks like the meat is boiling, like she's holding the tendon up. This is the nerve ending of the meat, and it's pulsating. Now we have to listen to all this, people. So what's happening is, I'll wait for all this to go away. It really freaks me out. It's not natural. While there are perfectly natural explanation, there's a perfectly natural explanation for this phenomenon. I wish I could Pause it. Here we go. In which salt is added to freshly cut meat, triggers still functioning neurons. And this is apparently a sign of freshly cut meat. The zombie-like movement is enough for most people to lose their appetites. No. I want to eat that. And if you look at the end of it, it looks like the meat is actually boiling from the inside out. It's like kind of twerking a little bit. So there you go. I mean, I want the freshest cut of meat. What's that? Wagyu beef. I want that, but I think it's like $275 per pound. But I want like freshly cut meat. I had a guy who was buying eggs from the property here, and he said, I'm going, deer hunting in the next couple of weeks. He's a little scrawny guy, but he looks like one of those guys that deer hunt. And he's like, you want anything? If I shoot anything, I'm like, take care of your family, take care of all your people and stuff. I said, I'd like some ground up venison if you got it. He's like, yeah, I'll get you some. And this is back in, I don't know, September. Sure enough, Christmas break, he shot 2 bucks and 1 doe and had enough leftover stuff, and he brought me some ground up venison. So I'm going to eat that. I'm going to pour some salt on it. I don't think it works the same way, but still, I'm going to make some venison chili, because ground beef, or I can mix it in with a hamburger or a Hamburg, depending on what side of the country you're from. So I'll let you know how that goes. But I've got about 3 pounds of venison meat, hot. It's got the label hot on it because he made it all spicy for me. So that should be interesting. Now, this video right here, it's an old video, but it's now circulating because I guess before it was only like, 2,000, 3,000 views. And now, this time of year, this video is getting like hot press. And it's a video in Wyoming of a guy driving through the Yellowstone National Park, and a bull elk was right next to his vehicle. Now, my wife and I went to Yellowstone National Park, and when you see like bison on the side of the road, we're from Orlando, Florida. You think that they are domesticated. Like they see this every day. Oh, this is blasé, cars are coming by. No, these animals are wild. And you've seen news reports after news reports as far as, this person was like hit and pulled up and drugged and gored and all that stuff. Well, maybe this family came from the same place. And they came up on this bull elk, and they're like going, "Hey, watch out, buddy. Watch out, buddy." Standing in the middle of the middle of the road. He approaches the elk, and the elk looks, it's cute. It's a nice looking domesticated animal. And the video kind of takes a sideways turn. It is I don't know how you do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 point elk. 11 point elk. I mean, he's a big guy, and he's out there on the road, and this guy's just trying to drive by, and he's kind of, showing his ass a little bit. And let's see what happens. So here we go.
Watch out, buddy.
He's driving up to him, and the elk's by himself in the middle of the road. Rolls his window down. You can hear his feet, clipping and clopping on the concrete there. Beautiful animal. Beautiful animal.
You want to go, bud?
Yeah, he puts his head down a little bit and was like going, "Hey, look, watch out. These are my horns. This is what I'm going to get you with." So the guy drives up just a little bit further, and this is what happens. Ooh. The elk hits the side of his car and flattens his tire. So I'll play it one more time. You can listen to it, and I'll be quiet. Now I got to get out and change my tire with this elk right here in the middle. I mean, that's how powerful this elk is. And his horns were, sturdy enough to poke through his tire. Now I got a flat tire. Now I'm in the middle of this tundra with a flat tire with this aggressive elk. And now I got to deal with this shit. All right, guys, on that note, I'm going to let you get back to enjoying the rest of your day. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, TikTok as well, and Instagram. And the way you find these locations is go to Prophet Radio, PROPHET Radio. Click on social contacts. And while you're over there, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you want to be part of the show, hit Be Heard. Opens up a microphone. Speak right into it, and you can be part of the show at any given time. All right, guys, I'm going to let you get back to doing what you got to do. My name is the Deacon saying good night and good night.
Wait. Come back.
This is the end. The absolute end.
Écoute-moi.